Cool. Before we begin with actual job profiling and what to do with your career, a bit about me. So, as you can see, I've been not very humble in my description. So, I started as a very mediocre student. And why do I say that? Because unlike most of the IITians that you would come across who were like the toppers in their school, I definitely wasn't one of them. I was more like a 60, 70, 75% guy. And I failed to get into IITs, NITs, BITS, NDA, literally every single examination that you could think of in the first attempt. And now you must be wondering why exactly I'm giving advice out here. So just hold on. I did a little better in my second attempt, got into IIT Roorkee, did my geological tech for the next 5 years. And then I realized that this is not what I wanted to do. Had a serious argument with my parents because they thought that if you have already done something for the 5 years, then that's something you should pursue as a career. And I had other ideas. I explored job opportunities in non-core sector and failed my first 7 interviews during placements. Then finally, the interview that I cleared, I left the job in the next 3 months and stayed unemployed for 1.5 months. The IT tag didn't really help because I had no experience in non-core sector and I was applying for that job. Then I got another job in a very small startup. I left it in 2 days. And then finally, I got into Uber. And just to be clear, not just like Uber, the car, but actually started working with the company in the very next week. It was like one of the best companies that I worked for. And before I left Uber, I just learned a lot in operations and finally moved to my fourth job. And this was the company that I cannot name, but I just worked here for a month before I finally got an opportunity to work in London. And it was too good an opportunity to let go. And that's where I found one of the dream profiles that I didn't even know was a dream profile for me. It was a product management job. And only while working on this profile did I realize how impactful it is to have a career in product management. Maybe it's my career match, that's what I feel, but I think it's too short a time to conclude anything. One of the favorite quotes that I truly believe in is magic happens when you don't give up, even when you want to. The universe always falls in love with a stubborn heart. I think that's true for everyone. Each of us have their own challenges, some more severe than the other, but it's all about perseverance. And if you don't give up, you'll eventually get into a really good place. So that's about me. Let's move to the next slide. So ideally, this is what I should be covering because this is very relevant for you. Some questions like where to apply for a job, how to get a job in any profile. Most of you are generally also interested in an international offer, also interested in getting really high packages because that's what always it is about, right? Who's earning more money when you're in your final year doing your placements and all you want to know is, okay, who got how much money, who's the person with the highest offer, and that's really something that matters to everyone. And then there's always discussion about, okay, what is the hottest job profile? Like I remember in my final year, the only discussion that everyone has was, okay, data science, let's start doing data science. It seems like really cool. And I did not even know the first thing about what data science was. What are the potential of becoming a data scientist? And we just blindly explored it. And I can tell you, like, it was one of the silly things that I have done, and most of you will probably do the same. And finally, like, is it even worth the effort? Like, getting an international job, getting this much package, targeting a profile you don't even understand about, and literally choosing between whether you want to go for startups, you want to go for a corporate job, government job, freelancing, entrepreneurship, academics. Like even by the end of fifth year, I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But there were a few things I knew that I did not want to do, and we'll come to that as well. So just keep these things in mind, these questions, and when I'm done with the presentation, which will be shortly, just feel free to ask any question which you find more relevant for yourself. Let's go to the next slide, please. Cool. Another thing that I should be covering is profile building. Because even before you start applying for jobs, what's more important is actually creating your own brand, creating your own profile. Because like when you're a fresher, I know that IITian being an IITian helps because in India it's perceived as a brand, but that's not the only thing that really matters. Like even if you're coming from a tier 2 or tier 3 college, what really matters is the kind of work that you have done, the kind of companies you're associated to, and what kind of skill set that you have built. So I think these four things really matter when it comes to having a very solid profile. Your skill set, but when you mention on LinkedIn, okay, I know 10 coding languages, I know 20 coding languages, I've done Microsoft Excel, I have recommendations like 100 friends, because that's what I did during my college. I asked my friends to rate me on LinkedIn, I rate them back. And we just thought, okay, this is going to make our profile look really great. But really, not exactly it works. Uh, what really works is the kind of projects you have done. And when you're sitting in front of the interviewer, how exactly are you going to present yourself? That matters more. And I'm not saying that's the only thing, because even if you have to get in front of an interviewer, like what kind of profile do you really see? That is really important. And finally, what companies in my resume will make it really good? And when you're working in a company, should you just focus on brand, profile, or just leave everything aside and just get your hands on as much money as you can possibly get? And let's move to the final slide, and then we can talk about all the questions that you have. So I covered all the questions that I generally should, because these are the questions that you generally have. But there are a lot of questions that we genuinely don't really think about. What is that you really want to do? And that's the question people don't get an answer for, even in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, because you're blindly looking for a job, you're blindly chasing money, we are blindly chasing growth. And that's where I really thought, okay, if I don't know the answer of what I really want, then at least use the process of elimination. That has worked really well for me so far. And I started, what do I not want? For me personally, it was geology. Like I studied 5 years in geology, and I realized that if I cannot love something in 5 years, there is absolutely no chance I'm going to love for the rest of my life. And that's how I eliminated one option in my life. And then I started doing more and more jobs, more profiles. And as in when I got more experience, I realized, okay, this is something again that I don't want. And that is how you narrow down your options. Now, what I'm saying is, okay, job is really important for most of us. With debts, with responsibilities, it becomes very important. It's so difficult to just leave everything and do something which you feel passionate about, because that's the cliche, right? Just do something that you're passionate about, but passion does not pay bills. And I'm not just saying that do any job, because that's not going to make you happy either. But it's still better than doing nothing. And as I mentioned, like if your interest is not clear, just think about what is the first thing that you want to try out. Because even if you have to use the method of elimination, there's something somewhere that you have to start. And what I feel is like, okay, your purpose is ideal. What you do, what you're passionate about, if you have already found that, great, like it's awesome for you. But even doing something which doesn't make you feel shit, which makes you feel at least satisfied about what you're doing, that isn't trivial either. And ultimately, it's you who have to find out what exactly are your priorities. Like in life, everything is priority, because at any stage of your life you will have 10 options in front of you, and you will always pick those options which are more priority, and that's what really matters, right? And for different people it's going to be different. And like, just to conclude, all these things, they will not just come itself. Everything will come with a sacrifice. And then you have to decide, as I mentioned, priorities. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice to get what you really want? Is it money, personal relations, peace, growth, health, and so on? So these are all the questions that I present in front of you. Let's start with questions then.
Cool. That was one of the fastest and power-packed, I would say, session. So yes, guys, shoot in your questions, whatever questions you have, and again, don't shy away, because again, we all of us have been in at your place at many times, not even now. So it's okay to sound very simple or very naive in your questions. Okay, how did you search for jobs? Like,
Okay.
how did Revolut happen?
Right. Okay. That's an interesting journey, because my career actually started in a very small startup. It was called Loginix, and I got it from my campus. And within 3 months, I realized that the work I was doing was very slow, not impactful at all. And without looking at any backup option, I left the job. That was one of the stupidest things that I ever did, because I realized that jobs just grow on trees and you get it easily. And that's when I struggled for 1.5 months. Uber happened again very accidentally, because apparently I had applied for a Uber link where I had to give the exam, and I forgot that it was 3 months back. By the time it must have expired, but accidentally I was just going through my email and I found that, okay, wow, there's a test link. I started opening it, I clicked on it, and it worked. And just like that, I cleared the written exam. In the next 7 days, I had 4 interviews. I cleared that as well, and finally got into Uber. And then after 2 years working at Uber, I got a random email on LinkedIn that, hey, we are Revolut, we are looking for someone like you and sponsor you in London. And I really, really thought that was a scam because it just doesn't happen. Nobody reaches out to you LinkedIn and gives you job offer in London. And I searched about it online and I thought, wow, they're really not a bad company. They're already a 1 billion company. I said, okay, there is literally no harm in applying, giving the interviews. If it doesn't work out, doesn't work out. But if it does, who knows where it's going to get me. And as it's like, there's always going to be risk, but higher risks also mean higher rewards. And I just went ahead with it and got into Revolut. Within the next 2 years, I actually saw very good growth in Revolut. I joined as a operations manager, became a product owner within the next 6 months. In the next 6 months, another promotion, became a senior product owner. And my journey has been like quite fascinating at Revolut. I hope that answers your questions.
I think one of the important point is having an active LinkedIn profile somewhere worked, and yes, and definitely Uber was a good experience, as I also know that you got into Uber. What's the best way or site to search and apply for international jobs? So now that you are in London, how other people look for international jobs?
Yeah. Actually, so I'll answer in two parts. One, like when you're already in London, what I've experienced is that when you're already working in a company like Revolut, or let's say any fintech, because this decade belongs to fintech, this is what I feel. And anyone who has been part of fintech, they have been getting job offers left, right, and straight. Like there's fintech in crypto trading, digital bank, even Paytm is a fintech in India. You have credit, you have so many options. And that's why I do get a lot of job offers on my own. I don't have to apply for it. But if let's say you are someone who doesn't have any experience, for you to get any international experience mean you probably have to start with the internship. You have to start getting experience in a company that you want to apply for in the future. Let's say you shortlisted 5 companies in London, and those are the companies that you really, really want to get into. Why would they hire you? One, either you have experience. If you have relevant experience, that is what will attract them. If you don't have, then you start have to get that experience. You have to start getting those skills, and only then you will have a very solid profile that will attract those job employers.
Interesting. So, other question is for a student who is in third year of his or her BTech in computer science, what they see in profile while applying for international internships, or how to build a profile in a short span.
Okay.
Okay.
So, firstly, there is no shortcut. Like, there's just no shortcut. You cannot have everything ready in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. This is what I tried in my final year. I wanted to do 10 Coursera courses, 10 Udemy courses just at once so that I can write on my LinkedIn, okay, I've done this. But in reality, what I learned was like nothing, nil. There was nothing I could share with any employer. Okay, this is my skill set. This is the project that I've done. So, what you really have to do is pick one thing and then try it out completely and see whether it's something you really like, because ultimately you pick 10 things, you want to do an internship, you won't like it. Like, what's the point? Try to explore these different profiles. Do you want to get into finance? Do you want to get into product management? I know 10 different things sounds really, really cool, but you just don't know the first thing about what exactly these profiles are about. Talk to someone who already has worked in this profile, understand what work do they do, what impact do they cause, and then select this. Once you have selected this profile, start doing relevant projects. Even if it's an internship, there's so many projects online, there's so many things you can do on your own. Internship can also be started locally in India. And once you have done really interesting projects that you're proud about, that you really feel is impactful, then applying for international job offer can also make sense. And it's not that international people do not offer internships. It's just a little more difficult than having an internship in India itself.
Absolutely. So, Anshul, give us a little bit insights about working at Revolut. What has been a difference of working in a startup in UK, which is like a hyper growth startup? How the work culture has been for you.
Okay. So the first thing is like people think that once you're abroad, life is completely relaxed. You're living the life of your dreams. But I can tell you guys that's not the case. First, living alone is has its own challenges. In India, we are quite privileged to have everything given to us by our parents and so on. Now, coming specifically to Revolut, it's a company that is very dynamic in nature. It's not a perfect company in the sense that okay, you have quick growth, you have very impactful work to do, and so it must be great, right? But no, you have to literally work 60, 70, or sometimes 80 hours a week, which is not easy. And working 70, 80 hours cannot happen if you really cannot enjoy the work that you're doing. So what has worked for me in Revolut is the kind of projects that I have done, like being able to launch virtual accounts in Japan, Singapore, Australia, UK, Europe. So what I mean by virtual accounts is not the kind of account that we have in SBI Bank or ICICI Bank, where you have like a physical account and you can receive money, you can send money. A fintech is working now in a way that you cannot have a physical bank account and yet you can have an account number and you can use it as a proper bank. And that's something which was fascinating for me. Like, is it even possible? I did not even think of the possibility. And when you're launching a product that is being used by millions of users, that alone gets you up in the morning and that makes you feel so passionate about the work that you're doing. I think new
Interesting.
questions there.
So someone is an Indian Army officer with 10 years of experience. What kind of profile options one have uh, regarding jobs in international market?
Actually, very interesting question because I recently was interviewing someone who also came from an army background. I think he worked for like 4 or 5 years in army. But what really worked for him was, so after moving from army, he got into another startup. I think he got into Flipkart at a very early stage. His experience in army was helpful in the sense that he was doing a lot of operational work. And same the thing he did in Flipkart, he joined in operations management, and then from operations management he went into product management. So having 10 years of experience in army doesn't mean that your chances of getting into private jobs is dead. No, startups nowadays are like the fastest way to get into any profile because they are looking for people with certain skill set. They know they cannot afford to get people from Google, Apple, and so on. They get people, you get to prove yourself, prove your skills, and it's very easy within a startup to change profile. Let's say you tried operations, now you can go into finance, you can go to analytics, you can go to PM profile. And once you have built your own credibility there, then you can start targeting bigger jobs, foreign opportunities, and so on.
Okay. So there are some platforms which provide international internships where we have to pay some amount and all. Are they really worth it? Because I think ISEC is also was there in IITs also, if I'm correct.
Yeah, to be like really honest and transparent, I haven't come across these profiles. I never had to use them, and whatever demands money, I actually don't believe in those profiles or platforms because, like, come on, if you have to pay money, there'll be hundreds of options, and it's extremely difficult to decide, okay, which one is the best. Like, try to choose someone who really feels passionate about the work they're doing, and even the most interest that they have is towards you, like towards your growth, towards getting you to the place that they want you to go. For example, this seminar, like, this is entirely for you. It's not costing you money, but it's completely for your benefit. So ISEC, not really sure what exactly are they or what benefits do they provide.
Interesting. So I have 2 years of experience in data analytics and business intelligence. How to get a job or internship in UK? I'm applying for different companies, but unfortunately, no one is responding. Apart from LinkedIn, can you suggest any other portals which in UK are popular?
Okay, so first of all, LinkedIn does not work as effectively as you think it might. Because come on, there are like 10,000 students applying for a single job on LinkedIn. Do you think that the employer will ever see your profile? No. And I can tell you, even when I was working at Revolut, I randomly applied for a few companies. I never heard back, not even the rejection email. And the same company recruiters reached out to me via a LinkedIn email. Okay, do you want to join our company? Which made me understand like your profile does not even reach the company because if a recruiter is reaching out to me, he would have accepted my application on LinkedIn itself. So LinkedIn is something I don't think works very effectively. The most effective method of applying for any company that I found is referrals. Like, you want to apply for company XYZ, find someone who works there. If you know that person, great. Like, they can explain you what is the profile, what work you will be doing, and then refer you for the company. Even if you do not know someone in company XYZ, try to reach out to someone, introduce yourself. Do not just go on LinkedIn and say, hey, I want a job, refer me. Because like, people who are so busy, they do not have time to look at those messages. They completely ignore it. Even if they read it, they will not respond to you. Give a very brief introduction. Okay, this is me, this is what I've done, this is what I want to do, and this is why I want to do this. And then someone will be interested to help you out. Like, people are always nice. Okay, that's the assumption that you have to take, that people are going to be nice and they're going to help you out. But you also have to understand that from a person who's getting 100 messages a day, if he doesn't see a genuine message, like if you're not making an effort yourself, if you're just asking him, okay, can you refer me for any suitable profile, they're not going to do the job for you. You have to find the profile that fits your skill set, and then he will refer you. Sorry, I missed your question regarding data analytics, right? Okay. First of all, find the data analytics profile in any company that UK has, that they're hiring for this profile. Okay. Once you have shortlisted 10, 15 companies who have these kind of open profiles, go to LinkedIn, reach out to people, introduce yourself very briefly, tell them why you feel you fit this profile, what skill sets do you have, and then request them to refer you for this company. I think that is the most effective way to get a job in those countries and in those companies.
So, Anshu, a little bit of understanding. Let's say now you have been to London. Okay, what are the other options from London that you see, and in the COVID times, how these options are changing? Because I believe UK has been severely affected in the COVID times. So, how? What's your opinion and understanding around that?
So you'll be surprised to know that job opportunities are actually quite a lot in the market. When the pandemic started in March last year, everyone was getting laid off, and to be honest, like everyone, even in our company or any company for that matter, would have been scared to lose a job. But currently, as things stand right now, my experience in fintech has really helped me a lot, because given that so many companies are building up in the UK, like UK is now becoming the fintech hub. There are tens of companies coming every single day that they reach out to you, and then they really appreciate the experience that you have in a fintech, and they offer you jobs not just in UK but in Berlin as well, or Amsterdam, or any other country in Europe that you can think of. And I can tell you for a fact, if you have the right experience, right skill set, if your profile can show that you're completely credible on the basis of the project that you have done, people are going to reach out to you. You're not going to be short of jobs. You will always have options in front of you. It's just that don't just focus on finding the right job. Focus on doing the work that you're doing right now, creating an impact, learning something that is going to last a lifetime. If you're in a company X, let's say, 50% of the work that you will be doing will be specific to that company. The tools you will be working on will be specific to that company. That is not a transferable skill. The skills that you have learned in any company is something that you can transfer in any other job role or in any other company. Most of us really focus on hard skills, like okay, I'm going to learn SQL, Python, I'm going to learn R. But one of the skills that we completely ignore are the soft skills, like how do you manage stakeholders, how do you manage a team. As simple as that sounds, because literally in every resume that we make in our college as freshers, it's okay, I've worked in this fest, so I know team management. I've talked to my five of my friends, so I know stakeholder management. But when you come into corporate, that is not things how are like.
Absolutely. We remember that joke of, buying a tea for the senior and then putting it into a resume. So definitely that's very interesting. Okay, so how open are startups or companies in UK or EU to hire fresher or folks having 1 to 2 years of work ex from countries like India? Okay, let me add a little bit perspectives here. At least I can cover up for the EU part. In EU, they have a tech visa. In UK, also they have a tech visa. And embassy actually promotes if you are applying in an impact company and if you have a tech profile. But again, the talent is going to be critical. Reach out is going to be critical. Many people don't understand of how to reach out to people. They just write random messages, and that's where the struggle is. You can always reach out on the embassy websites in Germany or even in France. They have amazing tech visas, and they would also list down the companies who might be hiring for those cases. For UK, Anshul can definitely help.
Yeah. So guys, first of all, with the start of pandemic, more and more companies are now focusing on remote work, which means that even though their company based in the UK, they're now hiring within India as well. Like I know Revolut is hiring within India, not necessarily people with just 1 year of experience. Ideally, they're looking for more, but that doesn't mean that there are lack of opportunities. One of the easiest way to start working or start moving abroad is get into a company first, prove your credibility. Never look for shortcuts that okay, I'll just find a company who can sponsor me a visa in London and I'll start working there. That's not how it really works. Like you first have to prove your credibility, get in the company, do some good work, provide a lot of impact to the company, and then they will consider you whether they need to provide you visa or not. So always look for a proper proper skill set, proper credibility.
I think this question is answered, so we might gonna skip it. As I said,
Cool.
okay.
Any last questions, because I have to actually leave.
Yes. Yes. Any final questions apart from portals and all? We might do a blog on this, guys. So probably follow the blog side of ForeignAdmits. We might come up with a detailed blogs for the portals you can follow. But anything more personalized or more specific, we have like 2 minutes left on this session. Yes, this session is live on YouTube. I would probably share the link, or else you can go to our YouTube channel. It's already streaming. Okay. International experience. Mm, okay.
Okay. So first of all, college summer course programs. Okay, let me take a very generic example. I've seen a lot of people coming to the UK to do their MBA programs. Like they shell out a lot of money, 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, and they just assume that once you spend so much money, a job is guaranteed. And while that may be true for a lot of people, a brand is no guarantee that you will end up doing well in your career. Like just don't take anything for granted that you have done this internship program, then you will definitely get a job. There will still be struggle, and just be prepared for it. Wherever you are going to go, hard work is the most important thing that you have to do, and not just hard work but results. Like people just don't care about hard work. What results are you producing? Anytime you're sitting in front of a potential employer or an interviewer, he will not like to know that you work 50, 60, 70 hours per week. He wants to know what exactly are the projects that you worked on and what impact did it create. And on the basis of that, he is going to offer you a job opportunity.
Interesting. So I think with this, let's mark the end of the session. Thanks, Anshul, for coming on a very short notice. And I'll definitely cover the other questions. I believe it's more towards the project side and all. And guys, I've already shared Anshul's Quora link. You can follow him in Quora. You can find him in on LinkedIn. Yes, just don't bug him like, hey, I need a job. Learn from this session, write a proper email, and definitely, if you are a right profile, he might even give you a referral if there are openings suitable for you. So yes, let's stay connected. Thanks, Anshul. Thanks for taking our time. Thanks, everyone. So
Thanks,
now we
everyone.
are, yep. So now we are going to discuss about international projects, internships, study abroad options, and how the visas are going to get affected. Okay. As Anshul said, there are so many opportunities in UK right now, even in Europe also. At least in tech and finance, these two, I would say, European countries and UK, both are having enough amount of opportunities. It's just that sitting in India, most of you guys don't follow a detailed news what's happening there, and that's where you don't have a clear understanding. That is where we are trying to enlighten you. What are the kind of opportunities you can get? Okay. Ideally, going there to directly work is going to be challenging. You did work 3 years in Uber and then got a in mail from Revolut, guys. Okay. So, and again, profile was definitely a little stronger, but he did start from zero. Okay, absolutely zero, because me and Anshul are like batchmates from a long time, from different IITs, but we work together. So I know him personally, and he has worked really hard, on improving his profile. So if you are following the part of hard work, definitely you would get in, be it Revolut or any other company. Let's come back to your questions about international projects. Now is a better time actually to look for international projects. The reason being, everything is now on the same platform online. Everything is decentralized now. So if you can showcase enough skills or previous experiences regarding projects that you have done, pet projects, personal projects, college projects, university projects, which has to be credible enough, okay, that you can showcase it to your potential employers. They would be convinced that yes, this guy has a potential. Also, you need to write a small strategy around it. How can you do these things online for them? That would make their decision making easier. for you to be hired for even a college project also. Okay, so online is now becoming better actually if you know how to use it. To give you a live testimony, I did 3 years of online internships in US companies sitting in my college back in 2013 to 16. So yes, you can do it. If I can do it in 2013, you can do it in 2016 or 2020 also. Okay. So talking about international internships, yes, there are plenty, not too many, because even if you have 100 internship, each internship on an average have more than 5,000 applications. So it is going to be difficult. But how you stand out of those 5,000 and grab it, that is what we are going to discuss today. Okay. So when you apply for an international internship, ideally you need few documents, okay, and some experiences in the relevant projects. Occasionally, you may not even have experience. So if you are planning to, let's say, do an internship in finance, okay, international internship, at least try to read more and more about finance, write case studies, solve case studies about finance, and list it on your resume or on your personal website. Maintain a personal website. That is also very good as an international standard. If you have multiple case studies, you can showcase it as a LinkedIn article. This is what you think, this is what your perception, and you can probably share it with certain recruiters, while you are interacting with them, not while you are asking for job. Okay, once you build a rapport within the community, within the profile, you would definitely get in an organic way international offers. The other things that you need to is have certain skills. And again, as Anshul said, not too many courses gonna help. 2, 5, 10, depending on the need of your particular skill, you would do those course with capstone project. And whatever course you do, deploy it, use it. People outside don't like, or less prefer rather, people who are just learning it, not deploying it or using their skills. How can you use your skills? Figure that thing out. You may have learned even a basic course. From the basic course, what you can build or what you can do, try to understand that, do it, document it, and then learn next. So these are the few things that you should be able to do it. Number one is courses with projects. Okay, projects are important. If you are able to do more pet projects, fair enough. And you can even launch your product on Product Hunt, and there are so many websites. Okay, so those things would add an X factor. Try to keep a fact that there are 5,000 people standing right next to you from different countries, even from better universities than you. How do you wish to stand out? That is where your projects, maybe your publication if you have any, okay, maybe a poster presentation if you have done, okay, a good GPA also works, okay, and the clarity in your SOP or your essays that you're going to write. The clarity in your SOP or essay is very, very critical. Okay, so when you are writing an essay, okay, that something has to give. Why do you want to do this internship? What made you apply for this internship? What you're gonna aim to learn from this internship, and what you're gonna do next in your career. Everyone loves people who have a clarity. If you are lost and if you're just doing for the sake of opportunity, it's kind of a disrespect to that internship. So they would not take you in that way. So you have to have a proper clarity. What do you want to do? What do you want to learn? What next? These are the few questions that you need to answer in your essays. And if you're able to answer that, trust me, there's a very high likelihood that you would get accepted. Uh, it's not about certificates. Again, you would be able to write you're a member of this. They would not check it, they would not vet it. But again, the kind of details that you're going to use there is going to be a testimony that yes, you were a part of the case solving group. Okay, like I did a lot of social service. Do I have a certificate? No. But when I mentioned that these were the certain insights, a story around it, then yes, they kind of understand that this is important. Not everyone's going to ask you for the certificates for sure. It's a world where people even don't trust certificate. I can do a Photoshop and get a certificate done. So who would gonna know? So that's why certificates holds a very minimal value. Your experience in that journey would be very, very important. Okay. How can you get an internship for engineering post? That's a very, very basic question. There are so many questions that I'm going to ask you now. What kind of engineering? Which kind of countries? Which kind of domain? What is the duration of the internship? Paid, unpaid? So many questions are there. So make your question very precise. Ask yourself, if someone's going to ask you, can I get an engineering internship? How would you be able to answer that? Okay. How would you go about finding an APM or PM role in EU for 2 years of work? Explore their incubator site, because product management is a highly demanded role in startups. We all know that, right? So find out where all the startups are, the incubators, the accelerators, the YC schools, all of those places, they have their hiring opportunities. Find out who is the person hiring. Properly write a small note to them on LinkedIn. Hey, I found out about this opportunity and I was exploring this. This is something is there, and I would like to talk to you about how this opportunity is going to pan out for me. And this is what my profile is. Just a basic introduction. Okay. And then build a network. So there are so many job portals. I don't have right now exact names of all of them, but ideally, in my understanding, LinkedIn do work, but reference on LinkedIn do work better. What Anshul said, LinkedIn is low, but the reference part is actually very high. So if you can get referral through a recruiter inside the company, it would be much easier. And Europe is still not tech advanced. They have still job posting, this notice boards and so many things out there. So you got to build people to people network, and they're going to help you. Okay, this company is hiring, this company is hiring, why don't you write to this person? And that is how it will work. Okay. At least for France, Germany, Netherlands, I know their embassy websites have also certain tech visa portals. They also guide you that these are the portals where you should go and apply for, because again, the companies listed there uh, have passed certain norms that they can invite international people to work in their company on technology visa. I hope I would have partially answered your question. The other thing, the job portals and all, probably give me a week. I'll get a good blog done on this. So you would get appropriate amount of information where to search. Okay. So any other questions, guys, you have? Okay. Just giving you a brief context on a final note. When I got my first international internship, it was by accident. I wrote a blog, it went viral. It was a curated blog. I credited to the author. The author liked it. I didn't ask for an internship then. When the time came, I wrote an email that I'm trying to work in social media marketing industry, and I thought of having some hands-on experience. I have learned certain things, and I was reviewing his website, and these are the few things I found that needs to be improved, and I probably can help him improve it. So is there a possibility that I could get to work with him? He really liked the approach. Within 2 calls, I got my internship confirmed. The pay was decent. In those days, $10 to $20 per hour is not bad. I'm talking about 2013. And it was a payment per hour basis. So outside, they have per hour billing also. So you got to be really, really crisp with your working. Okay. And then it was 2 months, a lot of learning. I definitely didn't knew a lot of things. I had to literally work my ass off day and night to figure out what GA is, how much analytics is needed, how the funnels are created, everything on those notes. And then I started recommendations. It really worked well. I worked as a strategist in a third year of engineering, which was easy because, which was not easy because in third year you don't know anything about digital marketing as a mining engineer. But then the way you approach, the way you showcase the importance of what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, those details kind of convince other people, yes, this is the person I would want to work with because he understands what I'm trying to do. If you get to convince a recruiter that yes, I understand what you're trying to do and these are the bottlenecks I see and I can help you improve those, trust me, he or she, there's a very high likelihood until you do anything wrong, he or she will hire you, because that's what people need in their team. Someone who understands their company, understands the bottleneck, and then gives a basic at least idea that this is how we can do it. Okay. And this is where you would be able to crack ahead, a notch ahead. And I never applied to like hundreds of places for internships, honestly. 5 or 6, that's enough. Okay. I did scout 2000 of them, and then I shortlisted 5 or 6 out of them to apply, but then 5 or 6 wasn't enough. So you don't have to apply 200 places with a basic casual application. Figure out the top 20 or 30 closely matched companies. Again, be realistic. I never applied to Google. I applied to Google, but I never applied to Amazon and all. Google, I at least had, I remember, one basic round, and then it never worked out. I knew that, but it was a bold attempt. So yeah. So someone asked, did you post a blog on a website, or you're freelancing? Okay. No, I didn't do any freelancing and all. I used to share content on LinkedIn. I still love sharing content on LinkedIn. Okay. So when I see a content on different sites which I used to read and educate myself, I kind of copied those content, curated it, did certain XYZ here and there. Because in those days I hardly knew how to write a content. So, and trust me, you guys are much more smarter now. So I just curated the blog and given the credit to the author and published a LinkedIn article. Okay. It was like 10 things that should not be on your resume. So you can probably go to this website called U-Turn or Muse. It's also a very good website that you can probably learn about career sites. So these are the two websites which you can use for your career developments and finding jobs in global spaces, internships also in global, and these are pretty active sites. Okay. So tech visa, entire Europe is giving tech visas for 4 years. Then there's an innovators visa, and tech visa you can easily get it. A lot of my friends are in Germany on tech visa. Some of them are with startup visas. So just explore tech visa, France, tech visa, Germany. There are options where you can go as a tech visa or innovators visa. So you can probably, the idea is, uh, if you start a company in France, if anyone starts a company in France, they can hire international people for impact oriented. If the company is working in an impact domain which has to be evaluated by the government there, and that's pretty easy honestly, because when I was there in Lisbon and Portugal, we actually did this exercise. So if you are creating any social impact or environmental impact as a company, then you are eligible to hire international people for 4 years at least on the tech visa. So companies do prefer that way because it's cheaper talent compared to hiring a European talent, honestly. Yep. Does resume play a big role in getting a job? Look, resume is just one tool. I would tell you, because I've been a certified resume writer for almost like 7 years to 10 years now. Okay. Resume is as good as your profile. I know a friend of mine who got into all the top-notch internships with a very, very badly written but good content resume. Badly formatted, I would say, but very, very good content resume. Because when you're a gold medalist in an IIT, you have two top internships in BRC and LNT, and then you published a paper. Resume is meaningless, right? But there are rejections if your resume is not well structured. A structure is important. You don't have to get a designer resume and all. The content in the resume is very, very critical. What you write is something is very, very critical. You can't use negative words. You can't use a lot of buzzwords. You can't. You have to use more data, more analytics, more qualitative and quantitative impact that you have done. There is a format called STAR. So follow the STAR format of resume. That would really help. We have done a lot of actually workshops on resume. We would do probably in future. Just follow our YouTube. You would get to know the previous resume workshops that we have done and the future ones that we are going to do. So here is the YouTube. You can probably follow this, subscribe this, and go to the resume part. We have done a lot of resume workshops. Resume that we submit in India versus US versus Europe, yes, there are slight differences. That difference is something that we have to probably research about it and give you the information. I even don't know for all the countries. Okay, guys. So any last questions? Else we're gonna wrap it up. It's 16:55, probably last 5 minutes. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. It really means a lot to me. And yes, we make a lot of videos and masters in study abroad. I'm personally coming up with a series on study abroad entirely end to end. So tomorrow you even don't need us to guide yourself. So just support us by following our YouTube. That's the least I would ask, and that would really mean a lot to me if you're following our YouTube or LinkedIn, anywhere. Okay. And for job opportunities, someone asked for job opportunities. We are definitely going to bring in back-to-back sessions: US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland. So many places are there, right? Where you would get your job. All of those things we are going to discuss. We have already made a video on day 2 of Mentor Conference about job opportunities. So if you haven't seen it, go to Mentor Conference videos. Second day, it's a long series. You would get everything about jobs. But yes, we are going to bring live sessions also. So stay tuned. Okay, guys. Thanks. Thanks everyone. Now I have to